The tiny town of Dulce, New Mexico, sits on reservation land of the Jicarilla Apache. Although its population is less than 3,000, most residents are believers in, and many are witnesses to, unidentified flying objects appearing to enter the Archuleta Mesa. The mesa is said to be the site of the underground Dulce Bases, where the U.S. military has forged an uneasy alliance with visitors from another world. Within sight of the Archuleta Mesa, in 1967, the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission excavated a shaft nearly 1 mile in depth, into which they lowered a nuclear device. The official cover story for the detonation of the subterranean nuke was to help the U.S. natural gas industry to extract vapors of fuel from the Earth. But there was not a single energy company that ever showed up to collect any natural gas. Instead, the field was marked with warning signs set in concrete to discourage any visitors. Some now believe the true purpose of the underground blast was the first step in engineering a subsurface chamber of enormous size. In 1975, Paul Benowitz, a specialist in electronics, opened his own business in a building adjacent to Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Benowitz intercepted coded shortwave transmissions between the Air Force and a mysterious radio source in Dulce. After personally sighting a UFO, which hovered over the mesa, he became convinced of the existence of a secret underground base where the U.S. military was working with extraterrestrials. Paul saw troop movements every summer in and out of the area. Also witness to this activity was the native population. At one point, the military built a road where trucks traveled for months, sometimes moving in a convoy through the middle of town. The underground base was likely still under construction. The entrance to that road was ultimately barricaded, and then all signs of it were removed, as if it had never existed. Phil Schneider was a geological engineer who in 1979 was working for the U.S. government with a high-level security clearance. He claims he had a contract to excavate tunnels for a subterranean military base. Under supervision of a newly founded unit of the United States Army, now commonly referred to as Delta Force. After his retirement, he revealed this base was located underground in Dulce. Philip was never briefed by the Army as to the true nature of the installation. While working with explosives, a chamber was breached, which was not on the map he was given. He came face to face with a cavern occupied by those aliens we now call the Greys. New Mexico has always been an open carry state, and Schneider drew a loaded firearm from his hip. Before his Delta handlers could stop him, he had already emptied his weapon into several ETs. The little gray men were also armed, and a firefight with Delta Force erupted. This was the so-called Dulce War. Before cooler heads prevailed, the classified battle was said to have claimed the lives of 57 American soldiers. Another whistleblower is Bob Lazar, who says he worked at the base for a handful of months in 1988. Lazar is a physicist who was assigned the task of reverse engineering the power and propulsion system of an extraterrestrial craft. The craft was said to operate on the principle of anti-gravity. A 200-page contract with the government, which Lazar was required to sign as a condition of his employment, referenced the armed conflict at the base in 1979 between humans and ETs. Thomas Costello was a security specialist who worked at Dulce Base. His job was to maintain the video cameras, which monitored the complex underground. From out of the installation, he smuggled photographic evidence of embryonic cloning being conducted by extraterrestrials. In exchange for advanced alien technology, the United States government was permitting their guests from off-world to conduct horrific genetic experiments.